And I will say this, the audience really put their best feet forward. Even the cranks yesterday were good, weren't they? All except for the one who must have been Steve Kane's manager, who called about 20 to 2. And I didn't want to really drag that out because we had our young lady here who was writing the story for People magazine. I didn't want to embarrass her, but the bottom line to that guy was that he was so full of it, it was incredible. And he kept talking about Bert Tannen. I can't believe you're still doing that spot for Bert Tannen. And, oh, you failed losing weight and you failed. And, I've always said, in fact, when Bert was on the show the last time, hypnosis doesn't work for me. And I've said that. But it works for a lot of other people out there. So at least I'm honest enough to say that. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I'm down to 110 pounds, and it's really fantastic for me. Unlike some talk host, and we won't mention any names, Steve, but who, advertise every restaurant that's ever been invented and say, as he was quoted in Linda Thornton's column, you've got to read between the lines and tell which ones I really like by how enthusiastic I am. I mean, what a cop-out that is, huh? That's incredible. And I mentioned that in passing yesterday, and I mentioned it again today. Obviously, it was a setup, and I'm wondering what he's going to do between now and the 1st of July. Not Steve, I mean the caller. He's going to be really in desperate straits. I'm sure he's listening right now because he isn't getting his daily fix of the Michael DeSisto School or whatever he's listening for. Anyway, let's see. Al this morning is buying calls. He's giving away freebies on the air. And Sandy is doing nutrition. So I bet you we got a pretty good audience. Al is doing another one of those sex surveys. Maybe someday somebody's going to give him the answers that he's looking for. You know what I'm saying? And try to straighten him out. That she probably has the only copy of that in South Florida. But it's true. Taffy is the condo commando in her building down on Brickell. And she's having a running feud with Miami Cablevision. Speaking of Taffy, by the way, Taffy is moving into new areas on her show today. And her subject will be black mayors. Have they helped the black community? And I didn't want to start Taffy. I know she listens to this show so she can come up with all those good responses. I didn't want to start her day on a negative tone because it's a dreary, rainy day to begin with. But I discovered a little piece of trivia yesterday that's going to devastate her. We all have seen the show Leave It to Beaver in reruns, right? I mean, like the Superstation shows it every couple of hours. There's another episode of Leave It to Beaver. Well, Beaver is obviously a very peculiar name. I'm sure that most of you have thought about that, too. And we all know that the last name of the family is Cleaver. And there are probably folks in the audience wondering what Beaver's real first name was. And I found out yesterday from someone who's in a position to know that his first name was Eldridge. And that is going to put Taffy into a state of shock. Can you imagine Eldridge Cleaver on Leave It to Beaver? She is going to have a nervous breakdown. Now, Theodore is not the real name. That was only a rumor. But, in fact, his initials, that was his middle name, was Theodore. His first name was Eldridge, and his initials were E.T. And Beaver was the first E.T. on television, and most folks don't know that. See, you learn things from this show all the time. Just like the young lady who came in to write that story yesterday from People magazine. She learned a lot here yesterday. She wouldn't let us know what all of it was.